Hello everyone and welcome to yet another tutorial. For those who are new on my channel, my name is Filip Milosheski and I do tutorials and sometimes I vlog. So today's topic has been one of the most requested so far. So I'll be showing how to animate your photos using Photoshop and Premiere Pro. Let's roll that intro. So, as I mentioned, I'll be teaching you how to animate your photos. So I'll be showing you two techniques. The first technique is called 2.5D parallax effect. So it's not 3D, but it gives you more realistic 2.5 dimensional effect. For this technique I'll be using Photoshop to isolate the objects and then Premiere Pro to animate the objects. So now you will need to insert your photos in Photoshop so we can separate the object from the background and move on in Premiere Pro. So once you open your image in Photoshop, press Ctrl J on the keyboard to duplicate the layer. I want to have another copy of the layer so I can always compare, and I think it will be nice for you to do that as well. So you will have some better feeling of what are you doing with the layer above. So once you have your layer copied, make a selection of the object. My favorite tool for selecting is the pen tool, because you can always get every curve you need to get. It really does take some time to create selection with the pen tool, but once you take your time, the final product will be way better than the one you will do with the quick selection tool, for example. So once you have selected your object, cut the selection and paste it to the new layer. Once you have separated the object from the background, you can already export it as separate PNG layer or file, if you will. The next thing you want to do is fill the empty area where the object was on the background with the cloning tool. Take your time to get the best result, because you really want to have an amazing work after all. And we are pretty much done in Photoshop. We just need to export the background layer as well as PNG file, and we're good to jump in Premiere Pro. Let's go and Premiere Pro. The first thing, of course, you need to do is create new project and import your files. So that is obvious, so let's not go there. Once you have everything ready on the workspace of Premiere Pro, you need to insert your background layer on the first video track and the object layer on the video track number 2. So since this 2.5D parallax effect is similar to the dolly zoom footage, we need to have something that will scale up and something that will scale down. For example, let's say that we want the background to scale down and the object to scale up. And how to do that is really easy. Just go in your effect controls and select this blue timer, which is called toggle animation. The toggle animation allows you to create key points and jump, for example, from scale of 150 to 100. But we don't want that much for our first background. Let's say we'll go with 125. For starting, at the beginning we'll add a keyframe with scale of 125. And at the end we will add another keyframe for the scale, which will be 100. What this does, it scales down the image from 125 zoomed to the normal size, which is 100 scale. Now for the object we need to do the other way, so we need to start with 100 keyframe and end with 125 keyframe. So at this point you are pretty much done with your 2.5D parallax effect on your photo. But to really bring the best out of it, I highly recommend you to add some audio effects or some music, because everything is better with music. So you are ready to export. The second and the last technique I'll be showing you in this tutorial is appearing and disappearing technique. So the first thing is also isolating your object from the background in Photoshop. But for the sake of this tutorial, I won't go through that all over again. So open your files in Premiere Pro and again add the background layer to the first track and the object layer to the second track, because you don't want your background to be covering the object, obviously. So now we'll be working with the opacity. It's really easy. Now you will need to click the toggle animation of the opacity section. But the only difference from the scale and the opacity is that we want our object to be visible at least 1 second before it ends, or to be the image to be clear, for the object to be disappeared for at least 1 second, because the audience will appreciate that. So at the beginning, if we want our object to appear, we will just create key point with opacity 0%, and then 1 second before it ends we will add another key point with opacity at 100. So if you play this, it will look like your object appears on the background. And if you want your object to be disappearing from the image, you will start with opacity of 100, and then 1 second before your video ends you will add a key point with opacity at 0%. So yeah, it is that easy. Now I will show you some examples of what I have done to get better feeling what this is. So yes, those were the techniques. They're pretty easy, but you'll really create something different than what you see every day on the social media. So try to get creative with these things. You can really create anything you can imagine. So I hope you learned something out of this video. I hope you enjoyed watching it. If you liked it, drop a like and subscribe, because a lot of new tutorials are coming really soon. And trust me, they're pretty amazing. Bye!